Let's talk about the Gravity Electric project, or I like to call it, perhaps we'll call it Fluid Electric project. It's a little bit of both. We're basically going to be using gravity and some type of fluid or fluids to generate electricity, okay? This video is about assembling some parts to make that happen. Now, we want to keep the budget as small as possible, reasonable, all that. Now, one of the suppliers I use is West Coast Products, WCProducts.com. Guys, gals, there's a lot of places you could go to get different parts, different ways you can approach this. This is just one of many ways to approach it. You'll be seeing some of the components that I'm using in this project and this device, right? So what does West Coast Products primarily do? They're into robotics, like automated robotics, competitions and stuff like that. See, they do like this server motors and okay, they do this kind of stuff. Robotic stuff. Little robots that go around and okay. But they have some really cool components that make assembling my device a lot easier, where I don't have to machine things and get on the CNC mill and do this and do that. I may still have to do some of that, but this really makes assembly much easier. It also makes the device adjustable, right? Because during trial and error phase, anytime you're creating a new device, you have to do a lot of trial and error and find out what works and what doesn't work. Okay, so I'm going to kind of go through the components list and talk about different things that have already purchased. There's more things coming probably, but we'll start with the things I've already purchased. So let's talk about, first thing we're going to talk about is, these are called HTD timing pulleys. Okay, now clearly they use these in robotics. They put a belt on there, a ribbed belt, right, goes on this. And these are pretty deep. These are called 5 millimeter. The 5 millimeter stands for the pitch. That's the pitch regarding the ribbed aspect to this pulley. Obviously, it's 36. Let me get a different color here. Obviously, it's 36 teeth, 5 millimeter pitch. And they have their own little WCP on there. It's fine, whatever. We don't really care about that. What I want you to pay attention to, though, and that's pretty cool. These are like deeper grooves, if you will, between the teeth. So we get really good, or at least better, engagement with the belt. And that's important because we're going to be dealing with some pretty sizable loads on these pulleys. All right. For building our gear train. Now, take a look at this hub. If you pay attention to this hub, it's not circular. What is that? What is going on here? This is called a hex, H-E-X, bore. It's hex. I'm sorry, I didn't outline it very good here. These are called hex bores. Okay. And why would I go with that and not just a round bore? We're going to talk about that. That's really important. So this is one of them. This actual pulley that they're showing here is this is their largest pulley, the 36 tooth pulley. I'll be using that one. And we want the 15 millimeter wide. There's two different ones that they have. Okay. They have 9 millimeter wide. When they talk about wide, they're obviously talking about the distance from here to here, right? Okay. So that's what this number stands for. We want 15 millimeter, that one. So this is a wider pulley. And that's important because the wider the pulley, the more, and the wider the belt that goes on that pulley, the better engagement we have, right? Okay, so we're going to be using this, actually using quite a few of these 36 tooth pulleys, 5 millimeter pitch, and we're using the 15 millimeter wide width. Okay, that's about a half an inch, give or take 15 millimeters, maybe a little more, like 5/8 of an inch or something like this. Okay, these kind of small pulleys, but they're going to get the job done. All right. So I ordered a bunch of these. These are 36 teeth, 15 millimeter wide. Your 1/2-inch hex bore. Oh man, that hex bore is sweet. We're going to get to that in a minute. I ordered one of these, the 30 tooth, because my final gear, I needed to adjust my last gear on the last axle to get the gear ratio I wanted. And I ordered a bunch of the 15 teeth. Let's see, what's the difference between these two? 15 teeth, here we are. I ordered a bunch of those too. So those are the 3 main pulleys I ordered. So you can see a big pulley down here and a really small pulley here, right? So we're going from big to small, big to small, big to small on about 6 different axles, 6 different shafts to get the gear ratio we want. Yeah, this is going to be a really steep gear ratio. We're actually going to be low torque, high speed, low torque, okay? Which is normally the opposite. Most applications are high torque, low speed, but we're looking for high speed, low torque. Okay, that's how escapement clock, weighted pendulum clocks are. They are, by the time you get to the last shaft, if you will, the last axle on your gear train, there's hardly any torque on that axle, but the speed is pretty high. That's so they can get it to run 8 days or whatever. All right. Now, let's move on to the next component that I purchased. The next component, okay, I ordered a bunch of these bearings, okay? Now, the ones I ordered are actually hex. Let's click on this. Let's see if we can find it. Let's see if we can find a hex. Okay, even though this is not the size, the picture is what I'm really after here. See that how it's hexed? It's hexed, right? It's got a hex feature to it. It's not round. It's hexagonal, whatever. Hexagonal? I don't know. Hex something. However you say that word. Hexagon? I think it's hexagon. Okay. Which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided. Okay. All right. So these bearings are going to go, obviously going to go on something. What are they going to slide on? Let's go talk about that. So those are the bearings I ordered. The ones I looked in this picture are 3/8, but we really want these. These are 1/2-inch, which is the ones I'm using. The reason I didn't show this picture because it doesn't look like it's hex, even though it is. I wanted to see it. I wanted you to see a picture that the hex really stands out. Okay, so we got the pulleys. We looked at the pulleys. We looked at the bearings. Okay, now let's look at. Let's look at shaft. Okay, you gotta look at shafts. Axle shafts, right? Sometimes these would be called arbors. Some people call them arbors when you're dealing with clocks, but they're really just shafts. In gearboxes, in some applications, we call them jack shafts. It just depends what industry you're in. They have a different name. Okay, the one we want is this one. See that? See how it's hexed? It's 6-sided. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided. That is so cool. We don't want this. This is pretty cool though too. That's just called a spline. We want this one. Okay, that's going to fit with those bearings we just looked at. So the bearing's going to slide over the top of this. Okay, all right. So some of you are probably hopefully getting to understand why I picked this. Why didn't we just get a regular round bearing? Because you would have to use either a key and a keyway, or a set screw. And I mean, let me tell you, we'll look at that here a little bit as we move through the video. I'll show you what that is. I've been doing this a long time, guys and gals. I've been working on gravity electric projects a long time. And dealing with jack shafts and pulleys and gears and sprockets and bearings and you name it. And I can tell you right now, set screws suck. They totally suck. They're fine for low torque applications. You're just trying to set something there and get it to stay, no problem. Other than that, they suck. They scar the material. They don't hold. They slip. They slide. They're garbage. Set screws are total garbage for what we're trying to do. Okay, what about keys and keyways? And I'll show you what that is in a minute. Yeah, they're good, but they're a pain in the butt. They're kind of a pain in the butt. If your material doesn't have a keyway, like this one doesn't right here, this would be normal, typical stock you would use round. Well, guess what? You got to broach it. You got to put the keyway in there, and then you got to put your key in there and all that stuff. So they're kind of a pain. They do lock your pulley or your sprocket or your gear to the shaft well, but they're not always great. They're a little bit loose in tolerance. You have to work on making sure your key's in there tight and blah, 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 and collar it really well and all this stuff. Okay, so some of you may have figured out now where I'm headed with this. With this right here, the bearing and the pulley are automatically indexed to this shaft. They're just, these hex sides are automatically going to index or secure the pulley to this shaft. I don't have to worry about it. That pulley is not going to slip. No set screw is going to slip. I don't have to put a key in there to try to figure out where to put the key, all that stuff. It's automatically going to be secured to the shaft just by sliding on there. Done. Boom. That's how quick that is. That's what makes this shaft great. Now, as long as your bearings on the end of it are also hexed, which as you saw they are, perfect. You slide this on whatever is going to hold your bearings, some type of frame, boom, you're ready to roll. Okay, so that's why I chose this approach, because I don't have to monkey around with set screws and keyways and none of that stuff. Really, really super convenient. Okay, so that's that. I ordered, what did I order here? I ordered this is pretty cool stuff, the spline stuff. I wish I could have used it, but I can't really use it. I ordered this right here, 1/2 inch round hex stock. I ordered like, these come in 3-foot sections, 36 inches. I ordered like 3 of these for a total of like 3 or 4 of them. I don't remember. I think I ordered 3 for a total of 9 feet. It should be enough for what I need. Okay, so that's that. Okay, the next thing I ordered, we're going through the list here. Pretty simple stuff. This is kind of common. Clamp. We're looking for, that's a 2-piece clamp. We're looking for really a 1-piece clamp. Let's see if I can find it. Heavy duty. I think this is it. No, it's still 2-piece. Here it is, 1-piece. This is a one-piece clamp. It's got a screw on this side. You just can't see it. It screws down and clamps this, closes this little gap. Okay, these you have to slide on the end. So you got to get everything in order. You have to slide your components on this shaft into proper order to put these on. It's kind of a pain, but they're cheaper. Okay, you can buy, I think it's this one. You can buy the 2-piece like that, and then you don't have to worry about your order. You can just put it on like 2 half pieces around your hex shaft. Tighten. There's a screw here, obviously. Okay, need a good color here. There's a screw right there, and there's another screw back over here. You just can't see it. But these are better as far as installation. They're not quite as good at clamping, and they're more expensive. So I chose to go with the ones that you have to slide on and only single-sided clamp, which is fine. Okay, so that's that. Why do you need these? This keeps the pulleys from sliding left and right on the shaft. We know that the hex shaft will keep it indexed. It won't rotate and spin on the shaft. This keeps it from sliding left and right on the shaft. So that's what those are for. Just keeps the pulley in place, doesn't let it move around. Okay, let's look at the next component. We're going to look at 15 millimeter belts, because remember our pulleys are 15 millimeter wide. So we need belts. And I ordered, I might have ordered belts that are a little too long. We'll see when they come in. I ordered some 95s here. Some 95 tooth belts. And I ordered some 85 tooth belts based on some calculations. I miscalculated a little bit, so we'll see if these work out. They might be a little long. If that's fine, if I need to come back in and buy some shorter belts, I will. Okay. So those are the belts. You can see they're ribbed. Nice, right? Okay. Okay, the next thing I ordered, this is from called Bearings Direct, and you could probably get this from other suppliers as well. And what I'm after here is just this shell, just the silver part, the shiny chrome pressed steel shell. Let me get another picture so you can see it from the front. Okay, that holds the bearing in place. Okay, this is called a pillow block. It's a pillow block, and it goes down like that. Okay, and the bearing's inside there. There's an upper piece and a lower piece. They separate. The top piece separates from this. This is the lower piece, kind of hard to see, but it's right there, and this is the upper piece. They separate. You can see that you can see if you look through this hole here, you see two separate pieces there, right? One on the top and one below it, right? And your bolt goes through there and you lock it down, whatever you're going to lock, whatever frame you're going to lock it down to. Anyway, this top piece comes off, blah, blah, you pull it off of there. It's pretty, just lift it right up. And then the bottom piece is this piece of stamped steel down there. It kind of goes like this, underneath there. Okay, you put your bearing in there. It's like called kind of like a little bit of a clamshell, but this is basically a pillow. They're called pillow block. And you put the top of the clamshell back on the bottom piece, and then as you tighten down the bolts, it brings those two pieces of material together, and presses and secures the bearing from sliding around. Okay, I don't know 100% for sure these are going to work. We're going to give them a shot. Now it's very hard to find just these two pieces, the stamped steel pillow block. Okay, without the bearing. They all want to sell you the stamped steel and the bearing together. All right, well, kind of a pain. I saw a few people that were selling these like on eBay. You may be able to get them on Alibaba, but then you got to wait, and then it's coming from overseas and blah, 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 So I kind of bit the bullet on this one. I'm going to have some bearings I probably don't really need, but I'm going to get the shell that I want. It's not always easy to find everything you want exactly the way you want it. Even this is coming from China, see? Made in China. Yeah. So I'll have some bearings and maybe one day I'll use them. All right, we're going to use those bearings we got from the other supplier because they're hex. See how this one's not hex? This is just round. Remember I talked about those set screws? There they are right there. There's your crappy set screws. Imagine just turning a screw and it digging into your material. Good luck that holding. Under severe load, that's just this bearing's going to slip on the material. Not going to work. And they sell bearings with a keyway in it. Okay, that's another way like I talked about. I'll show you what that is. Let's look at a keyway. Bearing keyway. I'll show you what that is. That's a keyway right there. It has a keyway in it. You just click on this image. Okay, let me get a black color. That's your keyway right there. That little cut. Now this is called a one-way, or I think they're called sprags. But in any case, then you have a piece of material, a key that goes in there, just a piece of steel that goes in there, and it locks between the bearing and whatever shaft you're putting in there. Kind of like this picture right here is showing. See that? Imagine this being your bearing. Right, this is your shaft, and the key locks the two together in there and in there. Okay, works great, it's fine. But like I said, it's a pain. You got to get the key in there. You got to tap it in there. You got to get it lined up. You got to put your collars on each side. You got to watch it, make sure it's right, line it up. If it moves, oh my gosh, the key slides back out. Yeah, it's kind of a pain. I'm just going to avoid all that hassle. That's why we're using hex. Okay. Okay, the next thing I ordered, and this is the last thing for now that I've ordered, this is called aluminum extrusion. I ordered some very long pieces. It isn't exactly this product, but it's close to this product. I ordered about 6.5 feet in length. Ordered a bunch of these, like 4 of them, I think, in a 4-pack. Okay, and if you look carefully, there's little grooves in there, right? These are called slots. You can slide things in there. So we'll be attaching our pulleys, our bearings, sorry, through that pillow block that has bolt holes, remember? Well, we're going to attach it right in here. Going to have a bolt hole there and a bolt hole there. Your bearing's going to, your shaft's going to go across like that. Okay, I won't be using 4 of them. Let's just say there's 2. There's another bearing over here. And the shaft turns, right? Spinny, 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 spinny. Has a pulley attached to it, right? Like that. The belt's going over here to another shaft. It does the same thing. It has its own bearings. You get the point, right? And then we're building a bunch of these going this way. 6 different shafts to get the gear ratio I need. Okay, this setup should be pretty quick. With the aluminum extrusion, I should be able to set up a frame pretty quick. I may need more of this, but we at least can get started with what I've ordered. Okay, I need some other components like some they're called T-clamps or T-bolts that slide into this. They're designed to fit right into this little groove and then slide in, and then you fasten it with a fastener. But I wanted to see all the components come in first, make sure they fit in there and do all that. And then I'll order the hardware. That's it, guys and gals. That's all the components I've ordered for now. This is going to be a great project. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we'll see where this is headed. Talk to you all real soon again next time.